No December holiday season would be complete in Boston without multiple versions of the Nutcracker and Händel's Messiah. On Wednesday, December 13th, there will be a free performance of the Messiah, Part 1, with the Eureka Ensemble and other partners, including the North End Music and Performing Arts Center. To tell us about the performance is the ensemble's artistic director, conductor, and co-founder, Kristo Kondakçi. Thank you very much for being with us, Kristo.
And great to be with you, Chris.
First of all, there are some messiahs that are really good. It's like just sitting down there at a concert and you just let it all sink in. But talk about what makes yours different.
Well, the Messiah is a celebration of community. It was premiered in 1741 and has been one of the most performed pieces of music in Western culture since then, so almost 300 years. What makes ours a special experience is really the choir. We call it a one city choir, and we spend the fall recruiting singers from all over the state. This year we have about 68 singers from over 42 neighborhoods and cities and towns across the state. So it really is a celebration of the community. We bring people from all over together.
Now, a lot of us have grown up thinking, this is a classic piece, but if you go back to when Händel was writing it, he'd been writing classic Italian operas and people were not as enthused, so he wanted to write something that was more popular, right?
Absolutely. Well, the Messiah in his life came after this period of severe depression. He locked himself in his apartment for weeks, lost weight. And I always like to say that he poured that weight that he lost into the score, because the result was the Messiah out of a period of depression.
Talk about the other thing about what the music is like itself, because a lot of this is very catchy tunes, basically.
Everything is catchy. The choral writing is technically difficult.
And it's also the kind of thing that people want to join in on, too.
Everybody does. I mean, there's a reason why once the Hallelujah starts, the Hallelujah chorus starts, the audience stands up, for example. It's because the king stood up in the premiere, but we've kept that tradition going, and everybody joins in. And in our concert, at the end, we have the choir surround the audience, and then we invite everyone to join in and sing the Hallelujah chorus with us.
Yeah, talk about what that was like when you were doing it last year.
It was hilarious. We finished the concert, had about a 10-minute standing ovation. I asked everybody to sit down and give a small talk. And while I was talking, I had previously asked the choir to slowly start to get off stage and surround the audience. And then I said, do you know what the experience of being in an orchestra is like? Because you're about to find out. And I asked everyone to turn their programs around, and there were the lyrics for the Hallelujah chorus. And I said, you're part of our family and our choir now, and we're going to sing the Hallelujah together.
Chris, the other thing is you're the person who has to put all these pieces together. You've got all these different, and not just the people in the audience, but people, the instrumental players, the singers. These people don't normally function all at once. So how do you make that work?
It is a very intense and intensive experience. This choir, because it's made up of all these different singers from all over the state, they never sing together. So we bring them together specifically for this concert, and we do it in 2 rehearsals because they're all working professionals. We have doctors, scientists, professional singers, and the orchestra is made up primarily of students, my orchestra, the Eureka Ensemble, and we do it also in 2 rehearsals.
Okay, this is BNN News, and we're talking with Kristo Kondakçi from the Eureka Ensemble. Kristo, talk about some of the other things that this orchestra, this musical organization, I should say, is doing, because this is not just instrumentalists. You've got a choral component as well that you're going to be working on?
And a commissioning component as well. For every project that we've done so far, we've commissioned composers, both locally and friends from out of state, to write pieces specifically for the orchestra and our community partners. So we just finished a very successful series of chamber music concerts in Chelsea, where we brought together different community partners for the first time at the local synagogue, of all places, and produced these concerts focused around the different ethnicities that are present in Chelsea. Do you know much about Chelsea?
Well, so that's why you had works by Latin composers.
Yes,
on
exactly.
The program. Yeah.
It's an amazing neighborhood. It's 1.8 square miles, very densely populated. Over 66% are immigrant. Over 42 languages are spoken in this one neighborhood. And what would classical musicians have anything to do? So we had a string quartet play in the first concert for about 65 people, with music from Venezuela, Argentina, Colombia, even an arrangement of Despacito, which is
That's
a hit.
That's a classic now too.
We had 25 teenagers we had 25 teenagers in the audience who had never been to a classical concert. In fact, only 2 people had any classical music experience in the audience, and they were all in awe from our performance. It was really a celebration, to the point that after the concert they went to their local city council, and at the next concert the city manager came and city councilors, because they wanted to see what this was all about.
Another project is called Sheltering Voices. Explain how this is supposed to work.
This is our big project of our inaugural season. We're building partnerships right now with 5 homeless shelters in the city of Boston, and working to put together a choir of homeless women. And I've commissioned a friend of mine, Stephanie Ann Boyd, who's our composer in residence, who lives in New York and studied in Boston, to write a piece for the choir and the orchestra. And another friend of mine who's a poet and a women's rights activist, who in her own life suffered through domestic abuse and had domestic abuse issues, to write the libretto for the piece. And she's going to come here, interview the singers after we select them, and craft the lyrics, the libretto, from their stories.
We should mention that if people want to get to the Messiah on the 13th, what's the exact time and location?
7 p.m., December 13th.
And we should also mention you've got some social media and website presence, so if people want to find out
If
more.
you go to eurekaensemble.org, you'll find all the info you need. It's right at the top of the page.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Kristo Kondakçi from the Eureka Ensemble.